Good evening. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be discussing Xbox vs. PlayStation, the return of the console wars. For those who don't know, Microsoft, who owns Xbox, recently bought up big AAA publishers such as Bethesda Game Studio, which created some very popular game franchises such as Fallout and the Elder Scrolls series, and soon Starfield. Now, Xbox is going crazy trying to buy up all these studios for their Game Pass subscription service and for their next gen systems. As you know, Xbox doesn't really have that many exclusives. This is what they're doing to get some. And as of January 18th, 2022, they are currently attempting to buy Activision and Blizzard, creators of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch, for an estimated $68.7 billion USD cash, or approximately $95 per share, which is a lot of shares. I wish I had at least one. This would make Microsoft the third biggest gaming company in the world, right behind Tencent, which is a Chinese company who owns 40% of the shares in Epic Games and also owns Riot Games. And then you got Sony, a Japanese company who owns PlayStation, which has been Xbox's biggest competitor. And right now they are in a close sales battle with the next-gen systems, with the PlayStation 5 selling 7.96 million units in the US alone in 21 months, and the Xbox Series XS selling 7.47 million units. The PlayStation 5 has a 51.6% market share compared to the 48.4% for the Xbox Series XS. So these lads are already in a heated console selling competition, heated low profile console war. In the news earlier a few months ago, they were all chill with each other, and now they kind of bumping heads. PlayStation realized that Microsoft could put the newest Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 remake on Xbox Game Pass for $10 a month, which would completely demolish the $70 offer on PlayStation Store. Sony essentially doesn't want to lose this bargaining chip they have with Call of Duty. They actually know they can't lose it, as the game's business model is to be accessible anywhere at any time for anyone. If you take a look, they already have Call of Duty for the Wii. They've had Call of Duty for the Wii for a while, but, a lot of people didn't know that. I'm just saying, they got Call of Duty on the Wii, which is pretty cool. But Xbox has said that it has no plans to put MW2 on Game Pass. But Sony knows how these streets work, and that Xbox easily could put MW2 on Game Pass anytime they want in the future. They have said the deal was inadequate on many levels and complained to UK regulators, leaving the UK regulators confused on which side to even pick, because you have 80-year-old regulators not even knowing what a game console is. Now, PlayStation and Xbox have gone back and forth, and PlayStation is making this deal very difficult for Xbox, claiming Xbox could hurt PlayStation and that Xbox is trying to make, quote, PlayStation like Nintendo, arguing Xbox could be, quote, the home of first-person shooters and leave PlayStation less closer to the competition. Microsoft wasn't down with all this heat from PlayStation and UK regulators, and even Google, who was complaining quietly with similar fears. If you guys don't know, Google Stadia tried to do their own console. Stadia kind of failed down because it didn't work right. Unfortunate, but Google was getting their nose in this too as well, but quietly. And then we have this tweet here from Tom Warren, a senior editor at The Verge who covers PC, console, and Microsoft. This tweet says Microsoft isn't happy with a UK CMA regulator over its Activision Blizzard acquisition comments. It describes the regulator's concern as misplaced in that it adopts Sony's complaints without considering the potential harm to consumers. And then in the next page, we see Sony PlayStation has been the largest console platform for over 20 years. And it's pretty much the first page is Xbox trying to hype up Sony and tell them that, they are literally the biggest consoles in the world, and that them sticking their nose in this is hurting Xbox business and harming consumers, right? And then Microsoft, in the next page of that, pretty much was trying to make themselves look like they suck at gaming and consoles. They went ahead and said they are last place in consoles, they are 7th place in PC games, nowhere in mobile game distribution. The regulators think that Microsoft has an advantage in cloud gaming with Windows Plus Azure. Microsoft says no. Microsoft also claims keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation is a commercial imperative for the Xbox business, and that it is counting on revenue from the distribution of Activision Blizzard games in Sony PlayStation. So that's pretty much saying that Microsoft would like to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation because it makes them money in the end as well, which is true. Microsoft also says the CMA adopts Sony's complaints without the appropriate level of critical review, and then quotes a tweet from Tom Warren, which is kind of crazy. So Microsoft is pretty much saying that these regulators don't know what they're talking about, they don't know what they're even sticking their nose in, and they're saying Sony is pretty much complaining over nothing, and Sony is this big company already, and they should just be quiet. Thing with that is it's becoming a focal point for these regulators and commenters across the media. And we've had shit with Facebook with dominating social media, we've had Google with dominating search algorithms, and with YouTube you see them get fined and stuff, and now you see these regulators sticking their nose in this. The big news about this is that regulators will probably try to lay the hammer on Microsoft in this Activision deal, with Sony exploiting the lack of knowledge on the game industry among these legislators, And then you have The Verge that was saying Xbox has no real intent on pulling the rug on PlayStation. But that came from literally an Xbox front man. He's going to say whatever. This is still an ongoing investigation. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to be like, yeah, I guess, yeah, we were going to put it on Game Pass, but I guess we won't now. He's not going to say the truth. It's an Xbox employee talking for Xbox. Just recently, Xbox gave PlayStation a 10-year deal, but Sony declined. So as a recap, Microsoft trying to purchase Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. Sony is a huge opponent to the deal, traveling to regulators to speak out against the proposal, using Call of Duty as a bargaining chip. Microsoft has said it offered Sony a 10-year deal for Call of Duty, up from the previous 3-year deal off, and Sony has declined the common sense. Now, me personally, I think Sony's being a little bitchy, going to the UK regulators and starting this shit when they themselves also own an umbrella of companies and game developers and make exclusives that they'll then put on PC broken a year later. But I also understand Sony because they don't want Xbox becoming a monopoly, which if you think about it, Microsoft is a monopoly, Like, they got Xbox and now Xbox owns all these things, so I get where they're coming from with this. I don't know how to solve it. I think we need to get better fucking regulations and better regulators to make these regulations, because you got people who are making these regulations not even knowing what they're talking about, really. They don't know. I can tell you right now, these UK regulators don't even know anything about Xbox or PlayStation or consoles or gaming. They don't have the industries at heart. They don't care. All they care about is their profit, And then you have fanboys on Twitter that just fucking attack each other nonstop. I see it, like, I can't even go into Twitter comments anymore to look for news or sources or anything, or just like opinions, because it's just bullshit nonstop from people just being toxic to each other. I don't get it. Like, what the fuck? You guys want to fight over TVs and shit too? Like, why are you guys getting so up in your ass about these consoles, alright? Like, I find this news interesting, not like, oh, well, Xbox is obviously better, so they can do whatever they want. Or PlayStation is better, so they can do whatever they want. It's just, it's stupid. It's dumb. All this shit, whatever. Anyways, that's the news. That's where we're at. Xbox offered PlayStation a deal, and PlayStation declined. As where this goes, we'll just have to wait and see. So, yep, that's the news for Xbox versus PlayStation.
You blew it.